What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and we are live on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram and on YouTube, both mediums here. Just setting this up. It is a Thursday, so we do Ask TNH live. Ask TNH is a series that we started pre-recorded, but now we like to do it. Now we like to do it, live and answer a bunch of questions. So whatever questions you guys might have today, I will be answering kind of on the cuff. So I actually had no technical difficulties today. So we're off to a good start. All right, Instagram is chiming in. You again, yes, me again every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So I'm sure YouTube will start chiming in. But let's get into some questions. What are you drinking? I am just drinking cold ice water. So. As opposed to warm ice water. Yep, just a little bit of white water today. So let's get into it. What do I want to talk about? Let's talk about. Did you guys see the Tudor sub, the 7923 that was on eBay? So for those of you who don't know, there was a Tudor Submariner reference 7923, I believe, listed on eBay. The owner had no idea what it was. Really, no clue of the value of this watch. Frankly, I didn't really know the value of this watch before this story became, famous. But he listed it, and then questions started pouring in about, its originality and its authenticity. And before, not very long, people realized, holy shit, it's real. And not only is it real, it's a farm fresh example. Puffy loom plots all around, basically undamaged, unpolished. I mean, this is a crazy fucking watch. And the bidding began to skyrocket. I think the bidding closed just under I know the bidding closed just under $100,000. So that is crazy. I mean, that's a lot of money for eBay. I don't know what the eBay fees are, but I'm sure this guy paid a very hefty number in fees. But the reason, I think that Hodinkee is the company that dove into the reason why it sold at just under $100,000 is because. On eBay, you cannot bid over $100,000 unless you have prior some sort of verification or some sort of permission by eBay to bid over $100,000. So many people who thought they were going to swoop in at the last second thought wrong. They weren't allowed. eBay blocked their bets, and that's it. God knows what this watch would have sold for if eBay didn't block those bids. It could have gone for $200,000-$300,000. Anyway, it's for sale right now. It's for sale at $350,000 on the private market. So, well, now it's now it's on the open market, but owned by a private seller. But what an amazing payday from $100,000 to $350,000. But that's crazy. And the truth is, the watch really is probably worth somewhere around there. I mean, I don't deal in that stuff. I don't know that stuff. That's stuff that I am a bystander on. I just don't deal in that kind of stuff. But just think about the things you could own for $350,000 that someone's just gonna own a watch for. I mean, that's just funny. Think about all of the shit that you could buy for $350,000 that someone is going to own a watch for. So that's crazy. It's but I guess other people would say the same thing about a $3,000 Datejust. Okay, regular watch guy on Instagram says greetings from Peru. Regular watch guy, greetings from New Jersey. Good to have you guys here. Did you born millionaire? I was asked by Daniel Ozrocco. No, I was born. You're just born. I'm just born. Christian, why won't you answer my emails? Oh, geez, send me an email again. I'm sorry, buddy. Seriously. I'm sorry I missed your email. There's no reason I've ignored them. God, no. I just get so many emails, and sometimes it's unfortunate, but the same people end up getting, kind of shafted, which is, it just happens. I would say I'm incredibly sorry. I'm embarrassed, but it's, but it is true. We get several hundred, emails sometimes in a day, and I'm the only one that answers them. I don't want anyone else answering my emails, just because I feel like the emails are addressed to me. They're not addressed to Theo and Harris. They're addressed to Christian. So how could I, how could I hire someone and say, by the way, answer these emails and sign them Christian? You know what I mean? That's a dickbag move. So yeah, I have to manage it. What kind of glasses are you wearing? I am wearing Warby Parker eyeglasses. How much is too much patina? The amount of patina you don't like. That's what. Should your strap match your shoes and belt? I don't think so. That's not. It's just. It's not how I. That's not how I, rock and roll. But you're more than welcome to do that. If that's your style, then I say go for it. How cool do you think you are? Says Tush, whatever they say. The coolest. Do you own an SKX? I don't own an SKX. I think that they're great watches. I know that TGB is a huge fan of them. They're just not my, they're just not my cup of tea. I don't do anything that really requires wearing a beater watch, a watch that can take just a massive beating. I work on the computer, basically all day, and I sell watches. And I sell vintage watches. So really, I mean, yeah, there are older Seikos. I don't know how old the SKX is. I'm out of my depth. I don't know much about Seiko at all, or anything really. I've only sold a handful, maybe 3 or 4 Seikos on TheoandHarris.com, and those were watches that I didn't know were terrific watches. I dealt with dealers, who knew much better than I, and then they taught me. So it wasn't like I had these barn finds and then sold them. I mean, I bought watches that I knew were terrific, and then I found them new homes. But no, vintage Seiko really is not my cup of tea mostly. And then second, it's just not my forte, which is probably because it's a product of me not being that interested in them. Now, to be totally clear, I am a huge fan of many King Seikos and Grand Seikos. I think that they're beautiful. I think that it's really interesting that they're Chinese and Chinese, Japanese, and high beat and everything. That to me is super interesting. It's like a dark horse. Even though they're a massive company, it's not a normal piece. Most people would opt for Jaeger LeCoultre or Jaeger LeCoultre or whatever. So I think it's cool going with something from Seiko. It's interesting. It shows that you don't need to have the thing that everyone knows what it is. I think that's interesting. So it says a lot. Vietnam era Seiko divers are fascinating. I bet. I totally believe that's true. But I just can't. Christian is the man replied to my email right away, as he would say there are a lot of watch geeks out there. Yes, there are a lot. It's amazing, and I think when I started Theo and Harris, I didn't realize just how high the engagement would have inevitably be. But it's true. The engagement is huge. The amount of emails are enormous. It's crazy. Mike J just asked, I'm in the process of buying a 70s Rolex, but fear Rolex won't service it. Well, one, Rolex will service it down the road, but 2, you shouldn't ask them to. Use a private service center. Use someone that is terrific, but someone that is less expensive. Rolex service centers are incredibly expensive. Our service center, the TNH service center, is doing incredibly well. We've serviced dozens of watches in the last few weeks, and it's not turnaround in 2 days. It's a 4 to 6 week turnaround, but it's incredible, and our prices are very good. They're very, very aggressive. They're put it this way: our prices compete and beat people of equal quality. They can't beat everybody because plenty of people out there are doing hack jobs for cheap. But our prices beat everyone. We'll be beaten, in price, the people who compete with us in quality. Our quality on service is just incredible. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't. I'm too much so about building equity in my viewers long term that robbing them on a service would just be ridiculous to make an extra $100. Like that's like the stupidest thing I could possibly do. Do you believe in the natural watch progression, starting in a low tier, working up build appreciation for watches? I believe in building an appreciation for watches, fundamentally. Now, I think that many people should start in the low kind of tier and then work their way up, but not everybody has to. My first watch that I bought was a Rolex. It was a Rolex Datejust, and I couldn't be happier that it was. It was the watch that immediately got me in. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that start off with something that's maybe low tier, that doesn't really speak to them, and it almost dissuades them from ever being watch geeks. There are plenty of aborted watch geeks out there, in an odd way, because they did that first piece, they just never got them. It just never, that Orient Bambino didn't speak to them, so they never even got up to the Tudor Prince Oyster date. And that's that's sad. So to me, it's all about what is going to be most likely to get you into watches in the long term. That's what I'm interested in. Do you often ship internationally? We ship internationally every week. We ship 1 to 3 packages per week internationally, no question. Yes, Shug. Yeah, what's up, buddy? You're right. Rolex will replace parts, which is, yeah, it's true. Rolex will use service hands, service dials, and depending on the watch, much of its value is predicated upon the originality of its dials and hands, and bezels and things like that. So, yes, you will run into a lot of problems. Any difference? This is a question from Instagram. Any difference between blue dials on Datejust? Some look dark while others look lighter. You're absolutely right. Yeah, no question, no question. I mean, the blue Datejust are. I've seen. I don't even know how many iterations. I'm talking about like a dozen iterations of blue dial Datejusts. I've never seen a second one of mine. Which is crazy. So that's just how it is. There are so many, and one is not better than the other. They're just all very different. Even the most common one is pretty rare. It's pretty rare. Really wanted to send my Anacar to you guys, but was worried. Any service testimonials out there? Hey, Shelf Compact. Yeah, I mean, I could send you some testimonials from a couple of people. Really from basically everyone that we've done service for. Yeah, shoot me an email, and I can put you in contact with some of our clients that will, to my knowledge, leave nothing but a great review. To my knowledge. I mean, they may hate me behind my back, but I did right by their watch, and that's it. I mean, we do it in a timely manner. It's everything, and anything that we do has to be approved, has to be approved upon, approved, has to be approved. Before we go ahead and do it, we give quote and then steps, and that's it. So it's a fully, it's a fully, above board process. I mean, we care a lot about service. You can't. There are two things in vintage watches that you have to accept when you get into vintage watches. One, they will need servicing. That's it. In their best condition, you will always need to service a vintage watch. Two, things can happen that are totally unexpected. Yeah, and that's it. That's why you need to deal with, in my opinion, real dealers. You need to deal with people who are going to stand behind their watches. People who have the respect for their clients, and then truthfully, the capital, the stability to be able to pay for a service of a watch that was already serviced. That's just how it is. King Mexico, give me a shout out. Come on, guys, you just got a shout out, King Mexico. How long has it been since you've last been serviced? I was never serviced. I'm running on my original oils. Hey, Christian, 1950s Cartier tank. Are they hard to come across? Preferably in yellow gold. Yes, vintage Cartier is very rare. We actually got a vintage Cartier in stock yesterday. Send me an email at info@theoandharris.com, and I'd be happy to send you a photo of it. It's a really beautiful watch. Hi, Christian. Very interesting. Your last video about El Clasico. Is your family from Spain? Cool Spaniard accent, by the way. Yeah. No. My dad's from Brooklyn. My mom's from Queens. I have no family that's from Spain. My dad is Spanish, but that's got nothing to do with with any actual connection to Spain. So that's it. Hey man, precious thoughts on precious metal sports watches? Does this defeat their purpose? No. I've had this conversation before with a couple of people, and I always laugh. I love gold Submariners. I think that they are hysterical. I think that they are the opposite of what the Submariner was supposed to be. The Submariner was supposed to be an ultimate tool watch for a man's man who's going to beat the shit out of it, and then would look down at it and say, I bought the right fucking thing because it's still alive. Whereas the gold Submariner, was made, to be a statement I'm rich watch, right? So that's funny to me. It's the opposite of what the Submariner is. So I love the joke behind it. I love the comedy behind that watch. If you care enough to listen to it. Some people buy a gold, Rolex and they wear it as, they wear it. Bless you. They wear it as a watch that they want. When I wear one, I wear it as a comedy. When it is a sports model. If I wore a gold, Submariner, I'd be doing it as a joke, and I'd love it. It'd be great, but it'd be funny. I'd recognize the comedy in it. Let's see. The metal's too soft. Yeah, someone just commented, that the metal is too soft. on a gold sports watch. It's too soft for what? It's not supposed to be a tool watch anymore. I mean, the goal is to be a luxury watch. It's just the style, it's just the aesthetic of a or the the design of a sports watch, but it's not supposed to be a sports watch anymore. It's supposed to be something that's just fun. So no, it's not too soft, I don't think. T&H idea: follow and document the service of a watch. Yep, human interest and stuff of the person who bought it. Absolutely, no, you're 100% right. I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, part of being a very very small company with only 3 people that work here, is that you can only get so much done at a time, and that is a very serious that's a very serious holdback sometimes. But I'm glad that it is that way, because we are able then to actually sell our watches at a price that is, in my opinion, respectable, and actually be able to sustain a company, whereas other companies, they're not necessarily getting rich, they're just charging way too much for watches just to pay their bottom line. They're robbing you to stay above board. It's like it's hysterical. It's like Bernie Madoff '08. I'm robbing you not to get rich, just to stay above board. So that's it's a funny thing. And I don't agree with that. I don't want to hire more people right now, because that's going to have to reflect in the prices. It just is, and I don't want that. I like our team. I like that we have 3 people. We do get a lot of work done for 3 people, but we don't get a lot done for 6 people. But we're not 6 people, so we have to be realistic in what we expect. So yes, a series like that is coming, just not yet. Any thoughts on adding more functionality to the site? Discussion pages, polls, voting on questions. Yes, it's another thing that we are thinking about. No doubt. We are absolutely considering doing some sort of an interaction thing. Also considering doing a Facebook page for Theo and Harris. That it's not just a page, but a group. An interactive group. So we haven't done it yet, but it's something that that we're thinking about, and hopefully we'll make get an answer and move. How do you go about sourcing watches all online? I would say 60 to 70% of our watches are sourced in person over the phone, through dealers, and then 20-30%. I don't know what kind of numbers that is, but 20-30% are sourced online, through just recommendations, through things like that. So that's that's basically how we source our watches. Gold sub nipple dial. Yep, absolutely. For those of you who don't know, check out a gold sub nipple dial, or even a gold GMT nipple dial. Great watch. Great watch. Why did you start a YouTube channel? Someone just asked. I did it because my sister told me I should, because she said it was a good idea. She said that people would listen and follow, and then it would become something. And she was right. She was right. YouTube is awesome. Do you work any other jobs, or is this your main gig? I have a couple other small investments, but this is where I spend all of my time. This is where I spend all my time. So I'm very lucky. I'm very very lucky. I mean, it's like incredible. I tell those people over email all the time that I say I say thank you for sending me your message, but I really mean that. Like, thank you for emailing me. That you could have emailed any other watch shop or any other YouTube channel, but instead you chose T&H, and that's like this really surreal thing. So I really do appreciate that. Let's see. J Watch Repair on 14th Street. I know. I'm not familiar. I'm sorry. They could be great. They could be awful. I have no idea. I can't. I just can't speak to them. I'm sorry. The 1803 of this week was amazing. Yes. Thank you so much. It was an amazing watch. We actually sold two. Two 1803s this week. Someone just asked, why photo watches with bracelet and sell on strap? I photographed the 1803 on a bracelet this week, but did not sell that bracelet. That bracelet is for a different client, so I couldn't sell it. But I was going to wear it and all that, So I wore it on the gold bracelet, but I sold it alone. So. Anyways, anyone who follows you on the YouTube channel ever recognized you in public? Yeah, like a lot actually. Not all the time, but like a lot. I think that's because I really only associate in relatively small circles in person. So those small circles like watches and then recognize me. So if I'm walking into a Bremont boutique, the odds of me being recognized are much higher than me walking into a Macy's. But I just so happen to walk into watch shops more often. When I walk into Tourneau, I have gotten recognized. But if I walk into a J. Crew, the same doesn't happen. It's just it's just me being real. Why am I watching this guy shill his business, and why do I watch it like it's freaking Netflix? Because I don't know. You should turn it off. No, I appreciate you watching. If that I really appreciate you watching. You don't have to though. You go watch your fucking Netflix. Go watch The Office or something. Has anyone who follows the channel ever recognized you? Probably I already answered that. Can you source specific watches in NYC for me? It depends on what the watch is. I mean, I could source you, many Rolexes. I can source you, plenty of watches. But there are watches that I just won't even accept because, I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm just not gonna waste your time. There are certain things that I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm not gonna take your money. But when we are asked to source watches, we do require a small, like $150 down payment, and we guarantee that watch will be found in a month or 5 weeks, I believe. So. It's a fun little thing. We don't take a service charge. We charge the same thing we would charge on our website. We just at least know it's a sale, so we took your $150, and we know you're gonna buy it from us when it is found. So that means a lot. Yeah, seriously. Netflix doesn't give me watch boners. Speaking of watch boners, let's look at some watches, shall we? Let's start off with these are next week's watches. These are going to be absolutely phenomenal. Let's take a look. Ready? We have a Tudor Oyster Date Prince. No, not an Oyster. Just an Oyster Prince. Oyster Date. No, just an Oyster Prince with amazing alpha hands and a silver dial with a circular gradient finish. This is an incredible piece. Once again, you can't really see the photos that well. You can't really see the watch that well in. Over the thing, but it is a beautiful watch. This is a really rare example. I don't recall the reference top of my head, but I just think that, let me look at it, from the hour indices to the hands, they're obviously match in that fancy kind of style, and they're beautiful. So I really do love this watch. It's actually an automatic as well, which I don't find all that often when it comes to vintage Tudors, like from the 50s. So it's really amazing. Let's see, I'm gonna put this crown back in. Oops. Gotcha. All right, next, a Longines Admiral. I'm a huge Longines fan. I love the Arabic numerals here. They're broken almost into like these two reflective surfaces, these two facets, and I think that it's really beautiful the way that it wears. I believe it's a 35 millimeter watch, but it wears so much larger because of the size of the dial, and I think that is just so much fun. Okay, what else do we have here? We have tomorrow's watch for Lug to Lug. Get ready. It's going to be an amazing episode. We've got Breitling Navitimer, but actually, it's not just any Navitimer. This is a Navitimer that was owned by King Hussein bin Talal, the prior leader in Jordan. So he's the king of Jordan. His son is the king of Jordan now, and this is just an amazing freaking watch. Obviously, it's the reverse panda dial, but it's in mint condition. That's what I love about it. I think that there's one small blemish in the entire dial, which is something that you don't find very often in these vintage Navitimers. They were tool watches. They were made and meant to be used, and as such, they were abused, which is fine. That's just how it is. Let's see, a Cartier tank Basculante. This is an amazing piece as well. I've actually wanted this watch since probably high school. That's what that's really what that's where I found this watch, and I fell in love with it then, and I'm still in love with it today. What's cool about this watch, it was kind of a reaction or a response to the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. So it's got a classic Cartier feel, obviously style, but what's really interesting is it has the flipping, mechanism there. So that's really cool. And then it does one of those too. How much fun is that? What a ridiculous thing, Oh, look at Anna. Say hi, Anna. So then you close it. Anna's editing. What are you editing?
Lug to lug.
Lug to, she's editing lug to lug tomorrow's series. So then we have, I mean, that's just amazing. Perfect for an engraving. I mean, it's really cool. Made by the same company that did JLC's Year Later. Oh, cool. Yeah, this actually did predate the Reverso, right? Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember reading that, but I didn't know that. That's very, very cool. Yep, beautiful. This is a beautiful watch. Actually, one of my favorite vintage Cartiers. Then we have a Rolex Turnograph, one of those Thunderbirds, with a crazy taupe dial, or it's almost like a brown. It's almost like a Havana brown dial, really. So that's, you know, it's an amazing color. It's totally different than champagne. It doesn't may not look it from here, but it is totally different than champagne. If you really look at it, it's got much more of a brown feel, and I think that this is just one of the coolest fucking Rolexes that we've had in a long, long time. I'm not a huge Turnograph fan. At least I wasn't a huge Turnograph fan, but then I got this one in, and I got another one in, and I said to myself, like, wow, this is fucking cool. Like, it's got a very beefy feel. I feel like the Turnograph is the answer to all of the times I've tried to sell someone a Datejust, and they ultimately they just feel like it's just too dressy. And then there's that, then there's this, and I'm like, boom, it's got that sports, model. I mean, that sports bezel. Very, very cool. That's Aaron Schmidt 808. Haha, Christian talking, Anna editing, and me coding. TNH never stops working. That is true. For those of you guys, Aaron Schmidt 808 is our editor. Not our editor. He is our webmaster. So Anna is our editor. He is our webmaster, and I'm Christian. I'm Christian from Theo and Harris. Jonathan Adlis, are you drunk? No, I'm not drunk. What do you think about entry-level pieces from Frederic Constant? I'd have to take a look. I love some Frederic Constant watches, no question. I just can't really speak to, the entry level or not. I really don't know. You like a good beefy feel. It's true. I don't know if that was a phallic joke. And then this is next week's watch for Lug to Lug. This is a Jaeger LeCoultre Master Mariner, but it was manufactured for or retailed by Cartier. So this watch to me is very interesting. It's an original stamp, obviously, and it's this is a really beautiful watch. It has a lot of design element kind of in common fundamentally, with the Omega Constellation. It has almost like a pie pan kind of dial, which you don't see very often. To me, the condition is just, now that I'm looking at it, the condition is just stunning. It has like a center seconds thing going. The second hand does not go all the way out; it stops at the hour indices, but it's dotted, so it's very, very pretty. How big is the case for the Turnograph? It's a 36 millimeter case. Yeah, 36. So it's not a small watch. I mean, it's not a small watch, but the dial makes it even. I'm sorry, the bezel is what really makes it. More of a sporty kind of piece. It's funny what's going on here with this. A little trouble, but hit the dab. Is the red grape Rolex Oyster Perpetual a unique color, or if it had done have they done it before? It's a unique color, I believe. I don't remember it being done before. I think it's a great watch. I've told people to buy it. I think it's awesome. I think the genius of a channel is that it makes me want to buy a watch from you. Like, I want to give you my money. That is great. I'm glad you want to give me your money because it's a matter of trust, and I should be trusted with people's watch purchases. That's just the truth. I think it comes down to trust. Really anytime you buy anything, it comes down to trust. But when you're buying a luxury item, when you're buying an item you don't need for thousands of dollars, you need to trust the person you're buying it from. That's why I tell you guys about my life and the questions that you answer or the questions that you ask. That's why, because I want everyone to feel very comfortable. I want to talk to the people that spend time on my channel. That means something to me, and I believe it means something to them. So yeah, I'm really it's my pleasure. You got to answer my question. Do you envision TNH becoming a publication brand company, kind of like Hodinkee? I don't know. I really don't know. So TNH Hodinkee started in the opposite kind of ways. They were 100%, blog, and they had the straps, and they did some pop-ups. We started off purely retail, and then videos about watches to, make more people know about us and buy our watches. So, our beginnings were very, very different. I do believe we will end up somewhat similar. Actually, we're pretty somewhat similar now, but I believe that we'll end up much more, kind of similar, especially, after, TNH, gets a lot larger, and maybe it, gets funded or it gets bought or whatever the heck it is. Yeah, they'll be very similar companies. They'll be very, similar companies. But can you show the Hussein watch again? Yes, I can. It's a Navitimer. It's a beautiful Navitimer. Check it out. Stunning watch. And the case back, I will show it to you. Hey, new Datejust or vintage? I mean, well, vintage watches, you concerned with accuracy. See, that's the stamp. Hussein bin Talal of Jordan. As far as accuracy is concerned, a vintage, Rolex, properly serviced will, well, and guaranteed, all that stuff, will basically run it chronometer specification. So, it will run within, 4 and 6 seconds per day. There are slight deviations. It could be 7, it could be even 8 if something happens or whatever. But really, as long as it's serviced and in great condition, your watch will, last, for a long, long time. You won't need any maintenance for years. That's for sure. I put the watch upside down. I gotta fix it. Dude, that Navi is sick. Yes, this Swiss watch is an unbelievable watch. I don't know much about King Hussein bin Talal, but but this watch is sick. And from what I read online, he's not much of a hated guy. He seems like a pretty liked guy. Again, I don't know much about him, but that's what it seems. So I feel like this watch will sell quickly. I feel like, someone's going to recognize the significance of this watch, that it was owned, literally made for by a king, or made for a king. That's a very interesting, thing that you don't see very often. So I hope it gets that kind of recognition that it deserves, but only time will tell. Right, we can only, we will only know, when it happens. So before then, there's nothing I can tell you about whether or not this watch will be appreciated for what it is. But I do think it should be appreciated. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on lower end pre-vintage Tudor. Yeah, they're great watches. It just depends on what you're looking to spend on them. There are a lot of inexpensive options out there that are either clones or fakes or something. So it's hard. It's very, very hard. How bold would you say one of your reddish straps are? They're not very bold, and when you wear them, the oils kind of absorb into the leather, and it gets darker. So I think that they're not bold very much so at all. But let's see. Preference: fluted or smooth bezel? My preference is fluted, but I know many people who prefer smooth. That's just it's just how it is. Christian, come on, man. What contemporary watch will become a classic and desired in 30, 40 years? I don't know. That's super hard to say. I mean, I don't know. Tudor North Flag? I don't know. It was a watch that wasn't really a market success. It wasn't really well received, so maybe that'll do it. But it's hard to say. I mean, it's very hard to say. I don't know. I'm not in that business. I don't buy modern and I don't invest in modern. So it's very hard. I'm a vintage guy. I think the vintage Tudors will be more valuable in 20 years. I think the vintage Rolexes will be more valuable in 20 years. I don't think that all of them. I wouldn't necessarily buy a, I don't know. There are many watches that I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy, a Paul Newman probably right now. I'd be afraid. But then again, I'd probably be more afraid of a short term than the long term. Maybe long term they balance out right where they are. But I think they're going to have a dip. They're going to have a dip, and something else is going to skyrocket. So, it's tough. But what's your answer to why would you spend so much money on a watch? Question we all get asked. I always try to be very unpretentious to people who don't care about watches, just because they don't care, and why would I spend my time trying to make them fans? I'm not that kind of guy. I speak to people who I think want to be spoken to, about sorry, about watches. I'm not going to waste my time on someone who has no interest. But for people who, you know, feel like, oh, you're that watch guy, right? But like why watches? I just always say I find it endlessly interesting. You know, I'm really a big history guy, and I think that the idea of a little machine inside of this thing on my wrist that's powered by me and then maybe will be powered by my son one day. I think that's really cool. You know, I think that that's a really fun idea. And I think it's hard not to love, and it's hard not to be poetic about. But that's it. I'll give one more question and answer, and then I'm gonna sign off today, guys. So let's see what it is. Rip sound. Do you ever wear more than one watch at the same time? No, I'm not gonna answer that. No, I don't. But that's not gonna be the last question. What else we got here? Your mic is going poop, bro. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, buddy. I have no idea what's going on. PHA Altiplano, yeah, great watches. I'm a big PHA fan. Vintage Pandas. Come on. Someone, your mic is going bananas. Mic alert. I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing I can do about that. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea.
Like try plugging in your headphones as the mic. Press the back. So switch it on the.
Does it sound okay? That hair. I don't know. Love Ran Teenage but Miss Ass Teenage. Sorry guys, the mic was going wrong on YouTube there for a second. But will Daniel Wellington? This is the last question I'll answer. Will Daniel Wellington go up in value? Yes, I think that Daniel Wellingtons are incredibly collectible watches. The fact that they are so popular right now, you know, and for the past couple of years in the mainstream, I do think that they will be extremely collectible. I think they're incredibly well made. I think that they represent, I think, the epitome of Bauhaus in the 21st century. They are kind of the segue from, you know, this reappreciation of watches, right? But it was very blingy and it was kind of very the opposite of what watches and horology was. And I think that then we went to this other polar opposite. But now we've balanced out here, right? We've finally found some time to really start loving what we do love, and that's why right now Daniel Wellington's success makes me just so incredibly glad, and I think that they are going to be appreciated in the long run. I think that they're going to be extremely collectible, and I'm very excited to see them. You know, I'm very excited to see them. Yeah, no, this code you're using, I don't know. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching live Ask TNH. It means the world to me. I hope that I answered some of your questions. I hope that you enjoyed it. And that's it. All right. Adios, guys.